If you truly do hail from the realm that men once called hell, when you return there, tell your kindred it was Sanguinius who threw you back! Guys, I'm your lore master, and today we profile a beast of a subject when it comes to the Warhammer 40k universe. Sanguinius, Primarch and father to the 9th Legion Blood Angels, demigod, warrior, statesman, and the living embodiment of the Emperor of Mankind's ultimate dream for his Imperium. Spoiler warnings, of course, but if you're ready, let's go, because I have some thoughts.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Called the Great Angel and the brightest one, Sanguinius stood approximately 9 feet 6 inches tall with, and I quote, radiant blonde hair, and was approximately 250 years old at the time of his death. Now, it's hard to describe the Great Angel. When meeting his brother Jagatai Khan for the first time, the White Scar's Primarch felt Sanguinius was too dangerous and nakedly predatory to be considered merely beautiful. Now that's a big statement, especially coming from the normally reserved Khan. It's also one of the best indicators for the kind of being Sanguinius truly was. The Blood Angel Space Marines have always been recognized for their beauty, physical traits they received while being infused with their Primarch's gene seed. What Jagatai sees in Sanguinius is a transcendent beauty, a beauty unmistakably slaved to a brutally efficient killer. But make no mistake, Sanguinius was noble. He was proud, resolute. He radiated a confidence so intense doubt simply burned away. Even amongst his own brothers, the other Primarchs, he was considered the noblest. In the words of his closest brother, Horus Lupercal, the war master and eventual architect of the devastating Horus heresy, "It should have been him. He has the vision and strength to carry us to victory, and the wisdom to rule once victory is won. For all his aloof coolness, he alone has the Emperor's soul in his blood. Each of us carries part of our father within us, whether it is his hunger for battle, his psychic talent, or his determination to succeed. Sanguinius holds it all. It should have been his." Amazing how the War Master could praise his brother Primarch in one breath, only to slay him in the next. Sanguinius was born on Terra, Earth, created using unparalleled genecraft and the psychic might of the Emperor, ruler of the Imperium of Man. Now, the Emperor crafted 20 extraordinary transhuman warriors, sons he called them, to serve as his generals in the upcoming galaxy-spanning crusade against the heretic, the mutant, and the alien. From within his secret gene laboratory hidden beneath the Himalayan mountains, the Emperor imbued those Primarchs with powers second only to his own. In addition, each was gifted mastery over one aspect of war. They became the embodiment of that aspect. The Emperor's plans and hubris did not go unnoticed, however. The dark powers of chaos, those twisted lords of corruption, they breached his laboratory. They stole away the infant Primarchs and they hid them on remote planets of the Imperium. Sanguinius, for his part, was raised on the toxic wasteland planet of Baal Secundus. Only angels may fly. Sanguinius was born with tiny vestigial wings as an infant, a mutation I suspect was a causality of his brush with chaos during the Primarch's abduction. The wings grew as fast as he did. The feathers were pure white, but as strong as those of the Imperial Aquila itself. They were large enough to bear his weight, granting him mastery of flight, as well as the awe and devotion of the planet's population, a population which thrived beneath his eventual rule. As I said, his brothers considered him the noblest. Even Angron kept more of an aggressive competition with Sanguinius versus the utter disdain he reserved for most others. Sanguinius appeared to be highly favored by his father as well. You could always find him deep in the Emperor's council, but the Primarch formed the closest bonds with his brothers Horus, Leman Russ, and Jagatai Khan. Interestingly, the Blood Angels, his legion, also forged close ties with the Lunar Wolves, Space Wolves, and White Scars, respectively. If it's hard to describe Sanguinius, it's even harder to pinpoint his exact powers and abilities. One interesting ability, one we often overlook, I already mentioned. He seemed to possess some psychically enhanced genetic connection with his sons, the Space Marines created from his own genetic stock. This link, it not only increased the bonds and fighting efficacy within his legion, but it appears to have enhanced his legion's bonds with those of his closest brothers. A genetic influence, I guess you could call it. And then there's the precognition. Sanguinius appeared to have visions of future events, including his own death at the hands of his brother Horus. A gift or a curse, it depends on who you talk to. Like all other Primarchs, he's bigger, stronger, faster, smarter than any normal human could ever hope to be. His mind is capable of performing calculations, processing information, and discovering hidden connections in seconds where a normal human might take days. He was just as charismatic, supernaturally so. His very presence was a force. Disease could not touch him. He had no need for a radiation suit, despite the poison radioactive wasteland Bal Secundus had become. No doubt that was a result of his accelerated metabolism and superhuman immune system, a system which made him functionally immortal. Age never plagued him, although, of course, he could be killed. When it came to combat ability, while every Primarch was comparable to the gods of old, Sanguinius was without a doubt top tier amongst equals. I mean, the man, and for all his transcendent splendor, he was in fact a man, took out a Legio Volpa warlord titan by assaulting his head. He shook the opposition so badly that 3 accompanying warlord titans retreated at the sight of his attack. Keep in mind, the warlord is essentially a walking fortress, anywhere from 40 to 200 meters tall and between 100 to 2,500 tons, packed with enough firepower to wipe out an entire army on its own. And he took it out, single-handedly. Now, as badass as that sounds, Sanguinius did have weaknesses. The first we touched on already, his precognition, knowing when he would die. It allowed Sanguinius to perform feats of insane bravery. But as he drew closer to his destined fate, the knowledge of his impending death began to consume him. His closest brothers and sons could see the shift in the once hopeful Sanguinius. To many of them, their Primarch's fall happened long before the Emperor stood above his mangled body, the sounds of dark laughter squeezing his grief into rage. But that's another story for another time. Now, the second weakness of Sanguinius, Horus discovered. The most carefully guarded secret of the Blood Angels was revealed when Horus, pre-heresy stand-up guy Horus, witnessed Sanguinius murdering one of his own Astartes. Given a chance to explain, Sanguinius confessed to a flaw in his own genome, buried deep, waiting to be awakened, a flaw he feared would be judged unacceptable by his father, by his brothers, and by the Imperium at large. A red thirst. The black rage, the craving of blood. For all his reverence as the walking symbol of the Imperium's heart, Sanguinius was no stranger to bloodshed. He was a warrior of preternatural skill, and warriors of his caliber made enemies, chief among them, Horus Lupercal. Now, his name was feared among the hordes of chaos as well, and while he fought countless battles against the powerful lords of their host, including Kyrus the Perverse, a greater demon serving Slanesh, without a doubt his greatest foe was Kabanda, a greater demon of Khorne of unimaginable might. Among the pantheon of the blood god, Kabanda was considered a killer's killer, an engine of destruction. And how did Sanguinius fare against an enemy such as Kabanda? He broke the demon's back. And now, Sanguinius wore intricately worked artificer power armor in the battle. It was perfect. The sculpted edges of the golden battle plate could literally be seen trailing the fine etching across the brass arts, shoulder guards, and breastplate. It was uniquely crafted to fit his form, balanced and weighted so as not to impede his aerial combat. On the chest was a heavy ornamental jewel cut into the shape of a heart and set on a mount of gold flames. It signified the burning spirit of the Blood Angels as expressed through their Primarch. For weaponry, he carried the blade in carmine and the moonsilver blade. Now, the moonsilver blade was particularly interesting. It's incredibly effective against demons. He used the blade as a backup weapon alongside the Spear of Telestro during the Horus Heresy. The blade was a gift from his brother Rogel Dorn. It was actually cut and crafted from the outer alloy of Dorn's Star Fortress Phalanx. Now in combat, the Spear of Telestro, his primary weapon, emits blasts of energy that vaporize anyone who doesn't have the blood of Sanguinius in his veins. Let me say that a different way. If Sanguinius wasn't your daddy, you got vaporized. Anyway, combined with the Infernus pistol, which was capable of causing massive damage to both legionaries and vehicles alike, Sanguinius was a force of nature on the battlefield. Now, based on his power, abilities, and impact on the universe, I rate the Primarch Sanguinius a 10 out of 10 celestial ranking. But let me know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you happen to be a sci-fi, fantasy, or comic book author or creator, check out NTLT book covers. We specialize in these genres, so we'll set you up with a cover that'll absolutely rock your fans' world. Go to ntltpresents.com today, okay? Badass book covers for sci-fi and fantasy authors. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.